The most dangerous person is not always the one who speaks the loudest, threatens the most, or demands the most respect. Sometimes it is the person who has learned to reveal almost nothing while carefully observing everything. Because the moment people understand exactly what you want, what you fear, and what makes you react, they gain a map of your behavior. And once someone has your map, they can often predict your next move. So the first rule is simple. Never give people the complete map of your mind. There is a certain kind of vulnerability that has nothing to do with weakness. It comes from being too easy to understand. You tell people exactly what you want, exactly what you fear, exactly what you are planning, exactly what makes you angry, and exactly what you cannot tolerate losing. You believe you are simply being honest. But in a world where people have different motives, complete transparency can become a form of exposure. The moment someone understands what moves you, they have information. And information in the hands of the wrong person becomes leverage. This does not mean you should become secretive, dishonest, or suspicious of everyone. It means you should understand that not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every plan needs to be announced, and not every emotion needs to be displayed while you are experiencing it. People often reveal themselves too quickly because they want to be understood. They want others to know their intentions are good. They want to explain why they made a decision, why they rejected someone, why they are pursuing a certain goal, or why something matters so deeply to them. But the desire to be understood can make you predictable, and predictability creates vulnerability. If someone knows you desperately need approval, they know how to control your confidence. If they know you are terrified of rejection, they know how to make you chase. If they know exactly what makes you angry, they know how to provoke you. If they know what you are planning months before you act, they have time to prepare for your move. You do not need to lie. You need to become selective. There is a difference between privacy and deception. Privacy means understanding that your internal world belongs to you until you decide who has earned access to it. Think about how much information people casually release during ordinary conversations. They announce their next career move. They tell everyone about their financial situation. They explain their relationship problems to coworkers. They reveal their insecurities to people they have known for only a few weeks. They describe exactly what they want from a negotiation before the other side has even made an offer. Then they wonder why others seem to have an advantage over them. The problem is not always that someone is more intelligent. Sometimes they simply know more about you than you know about them. A powerful habit is learning to observe before revealing. Ask questions. Listen. Let the other person speak. Pay attention to what they emphasize, what they avoid, what they become defensive about, and what they seem desperate to prove. Meanwhile, you do not need to provide a complete biography of yourself. There is strength in leaving some things undefined. When people cannot immediately categorize you, they have to observe you more carefully. When they cannot predict your reaction, they become more cautious about provoking you. When they do not know exactly what you want, they cannot easily design an offer around your desperation. This is especially important in conflict. When someone confronts you emotionally, the instinct is often to explain yourself immediately. You want to prove that they misunderstood you. You want to correct every accusation. You want them to see your side, but every explanation reveals more of your emotional position. Sometimes the most intelligent response is to pause. Not because you are afraid, because you are gathering information. What exactly are they trying to accomplish? Why are they asking this question? Why are they so interested in your reaction? What information are they trying to extract? The person who is always explaining is often revealing more than the person who is quietly observing. There is another reason to protect your inner world. Your plans become more fragile when too many people know about them. The moment you announce an ambition, you invite opinions. People begin telling you why it will fail. Others tell you how they would do it. Some become skeptical. Some become jealous. Some offer advice that reflects their limitations rather than your potential. And sometimes you begin performing for the announcement instead of working toward the result. You said you were going to build something, so now you feel pressure to appear as though you are building it. You told everyone about the transformation you were making. So now talking about change starts replacing the difficult work of changing. Quiet execution protects you from this trap. Build first, reveal later. Let results introduce you. Control your reactions before you try to control anything else. There is a simple reason emotional control is such a powerful advantage. People naturally study reactions. They may not consciously analyze you, but they notice. They notice what makes you defensive. They notice what makes you angry. They notice what makes you nervous. They notice when you become desperate. They notice when you suddenly become quiet. Every strong reaction teaches someone something about you. If a person can insult you and immediately make you lose control, they have discovered a button. If they can ignore you and make you chase them, they have discovered another. If they can flatter you and make you trust them immediately, they have discovered another. Your reactions create a map. And once someone has the map, they can navigate you. This is why emotional discipline is not about becoming cold. It is about refusing to hand strangers the controls to your internal state. Imagine two people in an argument. One becomes louder, the other becomes calmer. One starts explaining, the other listens. One begins attacking personally, the other remains focused on the issue. Who has more control over the interaction? Usually it is the person who has not been pulled into the emotional rhythm of the other. When someone wants to provoke you, the fastest way to weaken their influence is to refuse to give them the reaction they expected. This does not mean remaining silent in every situation. Sometimes confrontation is necessary. Sometimes boundaries must be enforced. Sometimes a firm response is appropriate, but there is a difference between responding intentionally and reacting automatically. Reaction says, "You pushed the button, so I moved." Response says, "I saw what you did, considered the consequences, and chose my action." That distinction is enormous. You cannot control other people's behavior, but you can control whether their behavior determines yours. Consider how often people surrender this ability. Someone sends an insulting message, and they spend an hour composing an angry response. Someone receives criticism and immediately begins defending themselves. Someone feels ignored and starts sending more messages. Someone becomes jealous and starts investigating. Someone feels disrespected and immediately tries to prove their superiority. The external event may have lasted seconds, but the person continues carrying it for hours. The provocateur has gone home. The target is still fighting. This is why you should learn to create a pause between stimulus and response. When something triggers you, do not immediately act. Give the emotion time to lose its intensity. Ask yourself what outcome you actually want. Ask whether your reaction will improve your position or simply reveal your weakness. Ask whether you are responding to what happened or to the story your mind created around what happened. This pause is where self-command develops, and self-command becomes especially important when someone understands your emotional vulnerabilities. If you know you are easily offended, practice not defending every perceived insult. If you know rejection destabilizes you, practice accepting that not everyone will choose you. If you know praise can influence you, learn to evaluate the person giving it rather than absorbing every compliment. If you know anger makes you reckless, never make important decisions at the peak of anger. The objective is not to eliminate emotion. That is impossible. The objective is to prevent temporary emotion from making permanent decisions. A calm person has access to more options. An emotional person often sees only the option that satisfies the emotion. Anger wants immediate retaliation. Fear wants immediate escape. Desire wants immediate possession. Pride wants immediate recognition. But strategy requires patience. Sometimes the strongest move is to wait. Sometimes it is to say nothing. Sometimes it is to leave. Sometimes it is to gather more information. Sometimes it is to allow another person to believe they have won while you continue observing. The person who can delay reaction gains something extremely valuable: choice. And choice is a form of power. When you stop reacting automatically, people begin finding you harder to manipulate. They cannot easily predict whether an insult will anger you. They cannot easily use silence to make you panic. They cannot easily use praise to purchase your loyalty. They cannot easily create urgency and force you into decisions. Your emotional world becomes less accessible to their influence. This is why you should study your own triggers with the same seriousness you study other people's behavior. Ask yourself what you cannot tolerate. What makes you desperate? What makes you defensive? What kind of person can make you abandon your judgment? What kind of approval do you secretly crave? What are you afraid other people will discover about you? The answers reveal the places where your control is weakest. And once you know those places, you can begin strengthening them. Because the most dangerous person in the room is not necessarily the loudest, wealthiest, or most intimidating. It may be the person who remains composed when everyone else is trying to provoke a reaction. The person who listens without immediately defending, the person who observes without revealing everything, the person who can walk away without begging, the person who does not need to prove what they already know about themselves, the person whose emotions are real but whose decisions are not controlled by them. Never make your desires too obvious. Desire becomes dangerous when it turns into desperation. The moment someone realizes you absolutely need their approval, their attention, their money, their partnership, or their cooperation, they gain leverage over you. Need makes you predictable. You begin accepting conditions you would normally reject because losing the desired outcome feels unbearable. The stronger position is to care without becoming dependent. Pursue what you want, but develop the ability to walk away. When you can survive without a particular person, opportunity, or reward, your decisions become clearer. You negotiate better, think more patiently, and become harder to manipulate because your emotional survival is no longer attached to obtaining exactly what you want. Silence can be more powerful than explanation. People often explain themselves because they desperately want to control how others perceive them. They defend every decision, answer every accusation, and reveal information that was never necessary to reveal. But excessive explanation can weaken your position by giving others more information about your motives and emotions. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Sometimes silence creates space for the other person to reveal more while you observe. Speak when communication creates clarity, but recognize when someone is simply searching for ammunition. You do not need to make everyone understand you. Protecting your peace sometimes means allowing people to hold an incomplete picture while you remain focused on what actually matters. Never fight on someone else's emotional battlefield. People often lose power by accepting the emotional rules created by someone else. An angry person wants you angry. A dramatic person wants you defensive. A manipulative person wants you explaining yourself. Do not automatically enter that battlefield. If they raise their voice, lower yours. If they rush you, slow down. If they insult you, remain precise. Your advantage comes from refusing to match their emotional temperature. Calmness creates distance, and distance gives you perspective. Once you can observe the interaction instead of becoming consumed by it, you can choose your response deliberately rather than allowing another person's anger, fear, or urgency to determine your behavior. Let people underestimate you. There is little advantage in constantly proving how intelligent, capable, or powerful you are. When people underestimate you, they often become careless. They speak more freely, reveal more information, and pay less attention to what you are actually doing. The need to display strength can expose insecurity, while quiet competence allows you to observe without attracting unnecessary resistance. You do not need everyone to know your plans, abilities, or ambitions. Develop privately and let results speak when the time is right. Being underestimated can give you room to learn, prepare, and move without constant scrutiny, while others remain distracted by the need to demonstrate their own importance. Never reveal your weakness to someone who has not earned your trust. Vulnerability has value, but careless vulnerability creates leverage for the wrong person. Not everyone who listens deserves access to your deepest fears, insecurities, failures, or emotional wounds. Someone may appear understanding while quietly memorizing what destabilizes you. Trust should develop through repeated evidence, not emotional intensity. Watch how people handle smaller pieces of information before giving them something more important. Notice whether they respect boundaries, protect private information, and remain trustworthy when circumstances change. You do not need to hide your humanity. You need to become selective about who receives access to it. Your weaknesses should be understood by you first and revealed to others only when their character has earned that privilege. Make your actions speak before your words. Do. There is a difference between announcing power and possessing it. People often reveal their ambitions too early, explaining what they will accomplish before they have done the difficult work. This creates attention, expectations, and unnecessary resistance. Quiet execution removes much of that noise. Instead of announcing every transformation, transform. Instead of repeatedly explaining your boundaries, enforce them through consistent behavior. Instead of telling everyone about your next move, prepare and execute. Words can create impressions, but results create consequences. The less you depend on announcements and approval, the more focused you become. Let your behavior communicate your standards, your discipline, and your capability before your words ever need to explain them. Understand that attention is a form of currency. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess, yet people surrender it constantly. They argue with strangers, obsess over critics, respond to every provocation, and spend hours trying to prove themselves to people whose opinions have no meaningful consequence. Whoever can reliably control your attention has some influence over you. Learn to ask whether something deserves your mental energy before reacting. Not every insult needs an answer. Not every conflict deserves participation. Not every person deserves access to your mind. Protecting attention is not indifference, it is selectivity. When you decide what deserves your focus, you stop allowing other people's emotions, demands, and distractions to determine the direction of your life. The most dangerous power is self-mastery. The deepest form of power begins with understanding yourself. If greed controls you, temptation can control you. If anger controls you, provocation can control you. If insecurity controls you, praise can control you. If loneliness controls you, attention can control you. Your weaknesses become handles that others can grab. Study what makes you desperate, defensive, jealous, impatient, or afraid. Learn what you struggle to walk away from and what approval you secretly crave. The goal is not to become emotionless, but to become difficult to manipulate through your emotions. When you understand your vulnerabilities and learn to govern your reactions, you stop surrendering control of yourself to circumstances and to the people who understand how to push your buttons. Power is not merely about influencing other people. It begins with refusing to become easily influenced yourself. Protect what you reveal. Control your reactions. Never allow desperation to expose your desires. Know when silence is stronger than explanation. Refuse to fight on emotional battlefields designed by others. Let people underestimate you when it gives you room to observe. Protect your vulnerabilities until trust has been earned. Let your actions create the evidence. Guard your attention. And above everything, study yourself. Because every weakness you refuse to understand can become a handle someone else uses to move you. The person who knows what controls him is already beginning to become free from it. Do not spend your life trying to control everyone around you. Become difficult to control. Comment, I control my reactions. And if you want more psychological insights on power, human nature, discipline, and self-mastery, subscribe to the channel. Because real power begins when you stop giving other people the map of your mind and start mastering the person holding it.